10 to 11 a.m. So if you'd like to log on and join that or tell your friends, it will be the same presentation on January 7th. A few housekeeping items before we begin. We will be recording this session and posting it to the Bellevue School District website, not only for you all to reference later, but for anyone that was not able to join us tonight so they can have the same information. Also, we will be utilizing our chat tonight for questions. So if during the presentation you have questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat. One of my colleagues, Randy, will be monitoring the chat and either responding to you in the chat or reading us those questions at the very end, and we will address all your questions before we are done for the evening. And with that, we will jump right into our presentation. Tonight, we will be going over all of the information that you will need to make an informed decision about where you would like to send your child for preschool. I personally think our Bellevue School District preschool is the best in the area, and I'm excited to tell you about why that is this evening. So tonight, we'll go over some of our program offerings, the sites we're at, what our kind of day looks like with our daily schedule, the curriculums we use at our Bellevue School District preschool. We've also been gathering families' questions as they've been emailing our preschool office, and we will address many of the questions families have been asking during this presentation. We'll also talk about the enrollment process to enter your child into our program. And then, like I mentioned, we'll leave time at the end for your individual questions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Shriver. I'm an elementary curriculum developer for Bellevue Preschool, but I also work with kindergarten and first grade students and teachers, and I also help out in our social studies department for kindergarten through fifth grade. I just wanted to introduce myself as I'll be helping Megan and Randy with the presentation tonight. This is my family here. I have two children. I have Everett, who is 3 years old. He's in preschool right now. And then I have Parker, who is 10 months old. And when I think about my own kids and what I want for their school experience, I want them to learn to be kind, learn to be a good friend, learn how to be confident and grow in their independence. The number one thing, though, is I really just want them to love school, especially in preschool. That's kind of the foundation for the rest of their schooling. And so, yeah, I just want my kids to love going to school so that they feel positively about it and they feel like they belong and like they're safe at school.
Oh, I never knew that.
Thanks, Emily. And I'm Randy Peterson. I'm another elementary curriculum developer. My focus, like Emily and Megan's, is on preschool, kindergarten, and first grade in Bellevue. And in addition to that, I support social emotional learning and health across our elementary schools. And a little bit about myself, we got to see Emily's adorable kids, so I thought I'd share mine with you. I am grateful for the Bellevue preschool program because my students, my own kids, personal kids, started their careers in Bellevue in our preschool program. And so I'm excited to share with you that now they are successful, thriving 7th and 10th graders in the Bellevue School District. And I am really grateful to the Bellevue preschool program for really setting up that foundation for my kids. Helping potty train my kids, teaching them about school so that their educational careers in Bellevue and beyond have a really strong foundation. And so the preschool teachers are some of my favorites, and personally and professionally grateful for them. I am going to be the one monitoring the chat, so feel free to drop questions in. I will respond to those as I can or read them aloud like Megan said, and I'll turn it over to Megan to introduce herself.
Everyone, Megan James, again, like Randy and Emily, one of our elementary curriculum developers, focusing on preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. I am also the elementary science developer for our school district. These pictures here are my little girl, Harper. She is 8 years old and in 2nd grade now. So, and previously, before my current role, I was a kindergarten teacher myself, as Emily was as well. So I really feel like I bring a focus on kindergarten readiness to our program and making sure that I want students to love coming to school, like Emily mentioned, but also that we are preparing students to be successful in kindergarten, and not only students, but also families. So you can kind of, get an early glimpse into what, being in an elementary building and community feels like. I'm going to start us off with talking about kind of what you might envision or see when you walk into one of our preschool classrooms. This is actually one of our schools here. This is Woodridge Elementary. And some students that are engaging in some table activities. This to me looks like it would be more of a free choice time in the classroom. This is one sample daily schedule, knowing that each individual classroom changes depending on the needs of the students, different events going on at the school that day. This is kind of what you could imagine seeing. So students enter having some kind of table activity or center set out in the classroom. Then students join at a carpet space for a morning meeting. There could be a story read. They go over the daily schedule and what they'll be doing that day. Then there would be some kind of free choice. So students would get to pick centers around the classroom, whether it be the science center, the writing center, the art center, and that would be kind of free choice around the classroom. And then teachers would be pulling small groups during that time to work on specific skills, whether it be fine motor, it could be writing their name, letter sounds, or writing numbers, counting objects. So teachers would be pulling small academic groups at that time. Then they might do another small circle. We do have lunch and recess in our program. Then there's always story time throughout the day, a quiet time, and we'll talk more about what that looks like later. And then another snack. And then we kind of divide our circles during the day, or the carpet time, into kind of academic areas. So there might be, a literacy circle in the morning, as you see here, and then afternoon there would be another circle time at the carpet focusing on math. Then another bit of free choice, and then an ending circle to kind of talk about how the day went, and kind of, wrapping it all up before they get picked up by their families. So that's what you can anticipate a schedule would look like for your child in our program. I'm going to pass it over to Emily.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about our curriculums in Bellevue. You'll see kind of as I talk about this, especially if you have older students already in our school district, that some of these curriculums should look familiar to you because it's what our kindergarten and even first grade students are using as well. So our first one is preschool specific. It's called the creative curriculum. It's kind of our core curriculum. It's organized by different studies, different topics that kids might find interesting. The teacher and the kids together can choose what studies they want to learn next. Some examples of things that your kids might be learning about are trees. They have one about pets as a really popular one. They learn about all sorts of different topics. But interwoven into those kind of themes are all of our core subject areas. So literacy, math, social studies, and science concepts that they'll be learning all around those kind of engaging themes for kids. So that's our creative curriculum. We have our second step curriculum. This is also seen in the older grades in Bellevue. This is our social emotional curriculum. So this is how they learn about identifying their feelings, naming their feelings. They learn about the fair ways to play. They learn about how to be a good friend to others, how to share, how to take turns. All of those really important social concepts that are so important to develop in preschool. We also have our Haggerty curriculum, which is our phonemic awareness curriculum. These are 5 to 10 minute kind of short lessons that kids do a few times a week in their classroom, and it's really teaching them how to listen to sounds and how to say sounds in words. So it's teaching kind of those alphabetical principles that kids need to start learning to read. Our kindergarten students in Bellevue also do the Haggerty curriculum. We also have some computer science opportunities in preschool. Up on the screen there, you can see our little Bee-Bot and Codapillars. Those are different little robots that they have access to in our preschool classrooms to learn just kind of those basic coding skills that could lead to some really cool tech careers later in their lives. We also have handwriting without tears. This just teaches kids kind of the basics of how to hold a pencil, how to form straight lines, curved lines, and how to start forming those letters and numbers. Kids typically do a handwriting without tears lesson 2 or 3 times a week in their classrooms, and it really provides a great foundation to being able to, pick up that pencil in kindergarten and really start writing. And our last program that we use in preschool is the pyramid model. This is a positive behavior support program that kind of helps kids learn how to, again, name their feelings, regulate emotion, work together as a team, and just be good friends to other kids in the class. So it seems like a lot of curriculum. Our teachers do an amazing job of kind of weaving these throughout the week and just making sure that kids are getting a really well-rounded educational experience in preschool so that they can go on to kindergarten and be super successful in kindergarten. I'm going to move on to some of our frequently asked questions, and I just want to let everyone know that at the end of this presentation, we will have time for you to ask more specific questions and any questions about anything that we didn't answer during the presentation. Okay, so who is the Bellevue School District Preschool for? What kids does our program serve? It serves all kids. So any child who is between the ages of 3 and 5 can enroll in our district's program. You don't have to live in district to be served by Bellevue School District. We have students that have special needs in our program. We have students who speak all different languages in our program. We really do serve all kids. We also have tuition assistance and scholarships available for kids. And we'll talk more later about how you can access that if that is a need for your family. So we really make sure that all kids can come and get that early childhood experience that we think is so important. Okay, so why Bellevue School District Preschool? We recognize that you all have a lot of options in the Seattle area and the East Side area for preschool for your children. So we want to tell you why Bellevue School District is so special and why we really think it's the best program in the area. Our curriculums, like I said, are aligned with our kindergarten program. So if your kids are continuing on in Bellevue, they're going to see very similar things in kindergarten. So this just helps kids with that transition from preschool to kindergarten and also prepares them for all of those academic things in kindergarten that they're going to encounter. Another thing that Megan kind of touched on is that they get to join their elementary school communities earlier. So your kids get to join the elementary school as a preschool to 5th grade experience. They'll get to go to assemblies. They might get to participate in some specialists at their schools. So PE, art, library, or music class. They'll get to be in the hallways and learn all of those school-wide expectations alongside the kindergarten through 5th grade students. So that's really kind of a unique thing about having our preschool program in our kindergarten through 5th grade buildings. Another thing is they get early access to school support systems. They'll get to meet all of the adults in the building, right? That will be there while they're in kindergarten through 5th grade as well. So they'll get access to our counselors, our physical therapists, speech pathologists, any of those professionals that might help them along in their educational journey. They get to meet them earlier in our preschool program. They also get access to our highly trained teachers. Our teachers are amazing people. They're all so passionate about being preschool teachers. They willingly come to, volunteer to come to professional development all the time. They really just want to be the best that they can be. And I think that's why Bellevue Preschool is so special. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Megan.
Being a mom myself, I know some of these smaller questions like meal times and nap times are very important and probably many of the things that you are all thinking about. So I wanted to take some time to review those. So in our program, one of the big questions we get is lunch provided for our preschoolers? As a family, you have the option to purchase a school lunch just as a kindergarten through 5th grader would at their elementary building. Some of our preschool classrooms will go to the lunchroom and eat in the lunchroom. And at some of our sites, depending on space, will grab their school lunches in the cafeteria and then bring them to their classroom. And if you have specific questions about kind of what is done at the site you are looking at, you can submit that question for us as well. We also, families can apply for a free or reduced price lunch at the school cafeteria, and all of that information can be found on the Bellevue School District website. You can also bring your own lunch for your child, pack their lunch in the morning, and our teachers will help them either in the classroom or in the cafeteria kind of open their containers and make sure that they are eating the food that you have sent as well. Our snacks provided by our program. This is really site dependent for our program. There are kind of both options. So if you would like to send your child with a snack to school, you can do that in kind of a separate container than their lunch container, and our teachers will help them get that snack out. And also our classrooms do have class provided snack as well for children that opt to have a snack provided by the school. Nap time. So this is also a really large question. I know since we serve children that are 3 through 5 years old, there's a very big range there. Some children are still napping or resting, while others are not because they're getting older, they've grown out of their naps, they're getting ready for kindergarten. So our teachers, since we have mixed age classrooms, 3 through 5, they're very skilled at kind of accommodating to all students in the classroom. So what our policy is that teachers will offer a 30-minute rest or quiet time. That would be a time that students that are napping will get on their mat and get ready to take their rest. Students that might not be napping, some of our older students, or maybe your child has grown out of their nap, will be offered quiet activities. So for the first 30 minutes, everyone is very quiet and still, either working on a quiet activity or getting ready for their rest. After that 30 minutes, if the children are not sleeping, our teachers will get them off of their rest mat or area and take them to work on small group activities at their table. That kind of addressed the second bullet as well. So if your child doesn't nap, again, our teachers will be kind of pulling them away from that rest area, usually kind of on the other side of the classroom, to allow one side to be a little bit more quiet and dark, and then get the other students up and work on some quiet table activities. Toileting. So another big question is, does my student need to be potty trained to attend Bellevue School District preschool? Our answer to this question is no. Again, with our mixed age classrooms, 3 through 5, again, a very big range of what is developmentally appropriate for potty training in those ages. So what we are asking is that families are working towards potty training with their child, but they do not need to come in fully potty trained. We have, again, like Emily said, wonderful staff that many of which have been in our program 20 plus years. And I can probably not even count the amount of students they have helped potty train in that amount of time. So our teachers are a really great resource to families to kind of come up with a plan on how to potty train your child and get them more independent in the restroom. How many teachers are going to be in the classroom? So teacher ratios. In our classrooms, we have no more than 20 students in one classroom. If a classroom is full at 20 students, it would have one lead teacher and then one assistant. So our ratio is 10 to 1. So for every 10 students, we'd have one teacher or adult in the classroom. So that would be typical, seeing a classroom of 16 to 20, one lead teacher, one assistant. In many cases, we actually staff at a higher ratio than even that. So many classrooms, depending on size, amount of student size, or needs of students, they might have another assistant. So in many classrooms, you might see one lead and 2 assistants as well. But the minimum you would have is one lead and one assistant with 20 students.
Okay.
Turning this one over to Emily.
I'm going to talk about how to enroll your child. So I know this is kind of a burning question for everyone. Preschool enrollment, our registration dates. So if you are a returning family, that means you already have a student enrolled in one of our preschool classrooms. We are currently enrolling. So you can go to the Bellevue School District website and make sure that you're enrolling your child again for next year. Also for our Bellevue School District staff members, we are also currently enrolling for next year. So if you work for BSD, please make sure you go onto the Bellevue School District website and go ahead and fill out your application so that your student can be in one of our preschool classrooms next year. For new families looking to enroll their child for the first time in Bellevue School District preschool for next year, our enrollment date is on February 2nd. So on February 2nd, we always tell people, some of our locations fill up a lot faster than other locations. It really just depends on the demand for that year. So if you have a certain location in mind that your heart's really set on, I would recommend logging on right on February 2nd to make sure that you get your first choice of location. We go by, first come, first serve. So they kind of just go in order of the enrollments that they receive. And then that's how is decided, which kids go to which location. We really are encouraging families to enroll your child at your home school if you live within the Bellevue School District, just so that whenever they go on to kindergarten, they can stay at the same school and have that experience. Okay, so this shows our 2026 and 2027 locations in Bellevue. We are at every elementary school except for Somerset and Spirit Ridge now, and that's just merely because they don't have space for us. So we are at all the other locations in Bellevue School District. We have our full day program, which is 6.5 hours per day. The hours match the kindergarten through 5th grade schedule at each school. Some of the schools might have a 5 to 10 minute difference of start time between preschool and kindergarten to 5th grade, and that's just to kind of help with traffic flow and how crowded it can get at pickups and drop-off times. But for the most part, pickup and drop-off times at all of our elementary schools are the same for preschool and K-5. So there are some program fees that you can see listed there that will be asked, you'll have to pay whenever you enroll. And like I said, tuition assistance is available. So if you are interested to see if you qualify for tuition assistance or you just want more information about that, please contact our preschool office at preschooloffice@bsd405.org, and our office staff at the school district will be happy to help you figure out that and navigate that whole process. The tuition rates that you see over here on the side, we have full day, and then we also have full day special education tuition rates. The state helps kind of subsidize some of the special education tuition. We have in-district tuition rates, and then we have if you live out of district tuition rates, and then we also have our Bellevue School District staff gets a discount on tuition. These are all our projected tuition rates for next school year. So the tuition rates are subject to school board approval, but we wanted to let you all know what we are assuming the tuition will be next year. So it's about 10% higher than it was this year. This is a big question that we get asked every year a lot, is what if my preferred location is not available? So if you log on February 2nd and you put in your preferred location, and then you get an email from the preschool office that says, or a phone call from the preschool office that says your preferred location was not available, you will be placed on the wait list for that location of choice. And then if the classroom gets space later in the year and you're at the top of the wait list, then the preschool office will offer to place you at that school. And in the meantime, they will ask you what your second choice is for a location, and then they'll check to see if that school has space for you. This is another question that we get a lot. We know that a lot of families have parents or family members who work and they work longer hours than their children are in school. So before and after care options are a big priority. So Right at School and Boys and Girls Club lease our classroom spaces in our elementary schools to provide before and after care options for families at some of our school locations. And these are kind of determined by just demand and space and staffing for those organizations. So right now we are still in communication with both of these programs about where they will be offering before and after care options for preschool next school year. So please make sure as enrollment comes closer, that February 2nd date comes closer, just check the Boys and Girls Club of Bellevue and Right at School's websites. And we have QR codes there for both of them. Just keep checking their website for updates and more information. You'll enroll your child in preschool through us, but if you're enrolling in before and after care options, you will go directly to these two organizations to enroll your students in before and after care options. Okay, Megan's going to talk about our language programs.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. This is something that I believe is truly unique to our program here in Bellevue, and it always is so exciting to share with you. So one of the questions, so what language options are available? So we actually offer a Mandarin program, a Japanese program, and a Spanish preschool program at select sites. Jingmei, Enetai, and Phantom Lake are our Mandarin sites. And new for next school year, we are going to be offering a Japanese preschool classroom at Bennett Elementary. And then we have our Spanish program offered at Puesta del Sol. So those are three very exciting offerings that you can choose to sign up for. There's no additional fee or price to sign up and register your child for those classrooms. It is just the normal tuition rate of any of our classrooms in our program. So really exciting offering for students that are native speakers and non-native speakers. Something that we rolled out this school year for the very first time is our Introduction to Languages program. This is a program where many language lessons are taught each week in your child's classroom. The language that will be taught in your child's classroom, no matter what school you're at or classroom, might be different. This is a different program than our Mandarin, Japanese, and Spanish. In those classrooms, that would just be Mandarin and English, Japanese and English, and Spanish and English. Our Introduction to Languages model are many lessons that are taught in all of our preschool classrooms. So, for example, if you don't choose to go into one of those three specific languages, your child will still receive a weekly mini lesson in a different language other than English. For example, this year we have students that are doing Arabic, we have students that are doing American Sign Language in their programs, and kind of what other offering that is available at your specific site is dependent on the languages of our staff that are working at that site. I've seen this popping up in the chat asking about open houses. So this was our second year of doing this, kind of universal open houses. So we really appreciate you attending the session tonight and hearing all about our preschool program. But personally, as a mother myself, I know I just love to get in there and kind of see what the preschool space looks like. So listed here are all of our elementary open houses. These elementary open houses are not specific just to preschool. It's any family that's interested in enrolling in any grade at one of these schools are able to kind of go into the building and see what the building looks like, tour some classrooms. So you can pick your neighborhood school. If you are interested in a different site for preschool for your child that's not your neighborhood school, you could visit that one. You're welcome to go to as many as you would like. So what preschool is offering at these elementary open houses is we will have at least one preschool classroom open for you to tour. At the session, we are having a few of the staff members that work at that site will be there to answer questions, to show you around while you are there. We won't have all of the classrooms open and it won't be all of the staff. So it will just kind of be a sneak peek into what preschool looks like at those sites. So we welcome you to attend one or more of these elementary open houses. Many of them coincide with the preschool, or excuse me, the kindergarten information session as well. So that, again, the building will be open to tour preschool classrooms, and we look forward to seeing you there. Here is some information about how to contact us. So I know you will leave here today and we'll pop off the call, and I'm sure you will have more questions that will come up. So here is our direct preschool phone number for our preschool main office, our preschool email address that's monitored daily. Even our address of where you can find us. Our office is at the district office, which is kind of directly across from the Bellevue Botanical Gardens. We are in suite 209, so right on the main level. It's the same building that has the Bellevue School District Welcome Center. So if you've made it to the Welcome Center building, just keep walking and you'll find us in suite 209. So you're welcome to come in to our office for questions. You can also visit our office for help with registering. So if the registration opens and something isn't working for you online, or you don't have easy computer access or internet access, you are actually able to come into our office to register your child as well. This is a QR code to scan to get to our preschool website as well with more information. Here are a few more handy dandy QR codes of places that take you for plenty of information. The first one, again, is our preschool website. The second QR code is our preschool family handbook that has all of our kind of expectations for families, what we're expecting of you, and what you can expect of us in that family handbook. Then we have a link to where the district keeps our district calendar. Currently, the 26-27 calendar is not listed on there. We were just checking that earlier today. But that QR code will still scan you to this year's calendar. And then when the new calendar is posted for the 26-27 school year, it will be at that QR code link as well. Something really important to note about the district calendar is that preschool does follow the district calendar for breaks and days off. There are only a few exceptions to that. Preschool does start a few days later than our K-5 colleagues or K-12 colleagues. And then I know kindergarten does start 3 days later than the whole district. We start a few days later than that. That allows us time to do training with our staff, have our staff do back to school conferences with each of you. In Bellevue, preschool, we do offer 3 family conferences a year with our families and teachers. So you'll get a time to sit down with your teacher before school starts, kind of go over any questions you have. They'll share about their classroom at their back to school conference. Then you'll get to meet again with your teacher in November to talk about your students' progress so far and connect on any questions you have. And then again, at the end of the year, we will have one school day in June that just specifically preschoolers do not have school, and that will be to hold a final kind of summative conference between the teacher and the family in June as well. You can scan that last QR code to link you to some frequently asked preschool questions, many of which we addressed tonight. But there might be some others that are posted up there. As you are kind of emailing questions to our preschool office, we try to update our website with information to make sure that we have everything on there for you so you can make an informed decision about where you would like your student to start their academic career. We will move on to questions now, but we're leaving this contact information up on the screen at that time.
So we've got a couple questions. I was just on the district website. It looks like a couple of those links are broken. Emily and Megan, if you can dig up the preschool FAQs in the preschool handbook piece. But I think we've been answering most questions from the enrollment. The preschool office does try to respond within 2 weeks and get you a response of your enrollment. That's a question that we've been working on. And then that's kind of sitting out here. We have some questions about allergy classrooms. And I know that topic's passionate to us around how do we handle that. So I posted the policy and procedure around allergies, but any specifics you can say to preschool about that topic?
Well, this is near and dear to my heart because my daughter has some food allergies. So um, one of the great things that, like I was talking about with Bellevue Preschool, is that you get access to all those other professionals in the building, one of those being our school nurses. So you'll work with the school nurse to kind of come up with your child's health plan, and what you need to make sure that your child's safe in their preschool classroom. All of our preschool teachers have been trained on how to use the EpiPen, how to recognize signs of an allergic reaction. And then also, as Megan was saying, you get those parent-teacher conferences with your child's teacher, and that back to school one is a great one to kind of reiterate, what your child's health needs are, what their health plan is, and just to connect over your concerns about allergies in the classroom. We don't let kids share food, and we're pretty good about, another great thing about preschool is your child's teacher and their assistant teachers stay with them during the day. So they don't go to the lunchroom and are left there with lunch staff. Your child's teacher will be with them at lunch. Your child's teacher is there with them at snack time. So that kind of gives another level of, adult supervision during all of those snacks and meal times that, in kindergarten, they're dropped off in the lunchroom with the lunch staff and their teacher goes to eat their lunch. But in preschool, their teacher stays with them all day. So your teacher is going to be a really good resource of just someone to communicate all of your needs with, and also the school nurse. I hope that was helpful.
The feedback, it was very helpful. There's a question about if a child attends preschool that's outside the district, will they be able to get transition to kindergarten there? And I think I need more details about that in terms of what kind of transition we're talking about. Are there any other questions? Either put them back in the chat. Sorry, I've been scrolling. This is a busy chat, keeping me on my toes tonight.
You're also welcome to unmute and ask your
Yeah.
question as well. If somehow we missed your question in the chat, feel free to take yourself off mute and ask your question.
Hi, I have some questions really quick. Yeah, so they said that February 2nd is open for registration. They have a specific time for that, like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Or just like after midnight?
Great question. This is a common question we get asked every year, when enrollment opens, and so our technology department is the one that kind of automates the enrollment link to open. It is supposed to open at 12:01 a.m. on February 2nd. Last year, however, we told families it was opening at 12:01 a.m. and there was some sort of glitch and had opened a few hours later. So it is supposed to open at 12:01 a.m. on February 2nd.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I see a question in the chat. It reads, if a preschool is not offered in my neighborhood school, do I receive priority at another preschool program? I would just make sure you are in there when it opens or as soon as you can. That would also be something, there probably is not a place to note that on the application. So I would make sure to reach out to the preschool office. Say you are in the Somerset area and we do not offer preschool in that area, but you want something that's close by your home or close by your work. I would send an email to preschool office with your enrollment, kind of stating that specific request of having a different option since there is not preschool at your home school.
There's another question about capacity, about which sites are full this year. I support 3 sites, and I know that there's space at all 3 of those sites. I don't know if Megan and Emily want to chime in as well.
We'll be really transparent. The school that always fills up right away on the day that enrollment opens is Jingmei Elementary. They're always full to capacity, and also the wait list of that school, since it's such a high demand, there's not a lot of movement on the wait list once it's full. So right now at Jingmei, we have 4 classrooms there, and they're all full. And like I said, there's not a lot of movement in and out of Jingmei. And those returning students will get priority. So I'm not sure how many we have returning for next year. It's usually about half. So we might have, 40 or so spots at Jingmei every year for new families, but it kind of depends on the year. All of our other sites, though, I think have space, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say if you are kind of put on the wait list for Mandarin class at Jingmei, please know that there is more availability for our Mandarin classrooms at Phantom Lake and Enetai. And currently both of those classrooms at those sites have open space in them as well. Kind of that's why we opened up additional Mandarin classrooms at different locations. We were kind of ran out of space at Jingmei, but it is the same program offering for preschool if you enroll in our Mandarin classrooms at Phantom Lake or at Enetai. There's one question that I was going to address, and I think Randy kind of addressed it in the chat, but we do have open enrollment. So kind of, if your child, from the day your child turns 3, they are welcome in our program. So for example, do you have to wait to enroll until February 2nd? If you have a child right now that is 3 years old, you can actually register them for this school year. And they could kind of finish out the school year with us and then would have, that priority for moving into next school year as well, because they would already be enrolled with us. I hope that answers your question, Lexi.
And then another question, thank you, Emily, for reposting it. For our multilingual programs in Mandarin, Spanish, and Japanese, is it taught as a second language curriculum or follow the bilingual approach? And I believe the program is a dual language approach that we use. But Emily and Megan, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, so we don't, so unlike in kindergarten through 5th grade for dual language or bilingual programs, they kind of follow a specific model of like how much time during the day and even during the school year each language is taught in, or what subject areas each language is being taught in. For preschool, it's more of like an introduction to that language. So our lead teacher in that classroom speaks both languages. For example, in a Mandarin class, they speak English and Mandarin. They kind of switch back and forth between both languages throughout the day. So in a circle time, they might do a read aloud in English, but then as they're going through the book in English, they're pointing out different vocabulary words or things in Mandarin. And then the kids are getting a chance to practice those. I know our Mandarin classes at Jingmei and Enetai and Phantom Lake this year are all working on like a character of the week. So they're learning how to write a Chinese character throughout the week. So it's really, we don't follow like a specific model, but it really is just kind of like an introduction to that language, so that whenever your child goes on to kindergarten, if they're interested in continuing in a language program, they kind of have that foundation.
I saw a question in the chat asking about recess, outdoor time, and playground. So each of our preschool programs at each of our sites actually have their own specific preschool playground that is separate from the playground that their kindergarten through 5th grade students use. So it's all kind of the regulations for 3 through 5-year-olds. So I know if you've probably been to a local playground, you can see that it will tell you like the age range that the play structures are made for. So on our preschool playgrounds, it does offer smaller equipment for our younger students to ensure their safety. And kind of the amount of outdoor time, I would say an estimate, our students have about 60 minutes of outdoor playtime a day. That would not just be all in one time. They would kind of go out in the morning and then go out in the afternoon. Most of our classrooms do go out no matter the weather. So your teacher will be communicating with you about kind of appropriate clothing to wear. I know I was just in a classroom at Clyde Hill last week, and they were all putting on their rain boots to go outside. So if that's something that your teacher would like you to send with your child to preschool, they'll be letting you know that that would be something that you should be sending with them. But your teachers will get your child bundled up in their raincoat and hat and gloves if that's what you send with them. But kind of knowing that we are in the Pacific Northwest, rain is common. If it is absolutely dumping, they will stay inside and do like a rainy day recess, either in a common space or have some extra playtime and do some movement activities in the classroom. But most of the time they do go outside. So really packing appropriate clothing is important.
Another thing that we didn't really get to touch on was, I kind of briefly mentioned this when we talked about curriculums, was our specialist programs in Bellevue. So these kind of vary from school site to school site. It just depends on our staffing at that school site and our specialist schedule that our specialist teacher have for kindergarten through 5th grade. But your child may get some opportunities in preschool to go to the library with the librarian. They might get a chance to go to the gym and have PE class or music class or art class. So it kind of depends on the staff and the time that's available for those staff, but we do try when we can to get those preschoolers some specialist time. I know some of our sites even our preschool teachers take kids to the gym when other students aren't in there, so they get some indoor gym time as well.
I think we're pretty caught up with the questions in the chat. We just had one pop in, but I think we're doing an okay job. Let me know if we've missed anything.
Yes, I just have another question. So my child turned 3 in March. So is that possible if he can attend 3 months in this school year, or have to wait until September?
In March, when he turns 3, you can go ahead and enroll him so that he can start as a 3-year-old, and then he could continue with us the following year.
That really brings something to mind, that question. We've had some families ask, so my student will turn 3 September 15th or October 1st. So, that's right after enrollment or the school year starts. So in that case, the preschool office, if you were to, knowing that your student is so close to that kind of beginning of school year and being of age right at the beginning of the year, what you could do is apply for, come February, apply for your student to begin next school year, but they just wouldn't get to start attending until they are 3, but you would have to pay to hold your spot, if that makes sense. So you would have to, if they turned 3 in October, you would have to pay for September and then start sending them once they turned 3 in October, just knowing that we can't hold a space for someone, knowing that many of our sites could fill up. But if you're paying for the spot would be held for you until your child turns 3.
But assuming that we have space at the school that she wants, the student in March could register and attend in school March through June. There's another question coming up if the student's already participating in a bilingual program. So I'm assuming we're talking about the Japanese program, the Spanish program at Puesta, or the Chinese program at Jingmei. Will they automatically enter in kindergarten? And they won't. They would have to apply as our choice school program and enter that lottery to determine that school. So just because you attend in preschool does not guarantee you a spot as a kindergartner. You have to go through the same application process as everyone else. School a preschooler considered a returning student. Yeah, same question. Again, preschool and kindergarten are separate in the sense that you can do preschool with us, but you would still go through the process of any of our choice school programs in Bellevue and entering those lotteries for those programs. And Emily and Megan, how many schools do they apply for? It's been a while since I have registered kids for preschool.
I believe there is room on the application to submit your first 3 choices. Emily, does that sound right to you?
I thought that we could check on this. I thought that there was only for their first choice now. I know that in the past they offered your first 2 or 3 choices, but I think to simplify the process, they changed it to one location, and then the preschool office will contact you if you are on the wait list and ask for your updated location. I was just thinking about that, and I remember asking our preschool office about it. I'm pretty sure it's just one location now on the application.
Sorry for that. If you have, if that was your question, if you want to pop your email in the chat, we can follow up with you
Yes.
on that question, or feel free to jot down that preschool office email, and they will let you know how many you can apply for. So you can kind of be ready and thinking about it before the application opens up. Sorry for that incorrect information.
Yeah, I think it's getting tricky when we're saying returning students. We register students as soon as they're 3, and then they enter kindergarten at 5. So many kids will spend 2 years in the Bellevue preschool program as a P3 and then as a P4, their 4-year-old year. And so when we're talking about returning, that would be their first year in preschool, but knowing that they're going to get a second year of preschool before they enter kindergarten. Sorry for the confusion. Some kids do 1 year of preschool and then go on to kindergarten. And in that case, they're not considered a returning preschooler. They're then entering the kindergarten choice school lottery or attending their homeschool or applying for open transfer to a school of their choice. Any other questions that we can take tonight? Again, the preschool office is a really great, the preschool office at bsd405.org is a great email if you have additional questions or visit our website. Yes, Jingmei and Puesta are choice schools in Bellevue. The Bennett is not, but Bennett offers our Japanese dual language program, and you have to enter a lottery to be considered for any of our dual language programs. So Japanese at Bennett or Spanish at Lake Hills, Sherwood Forest, or Stevenson.
And if you are interested in learning more about any of our language programs we offer in Bellevue School District, I heard whisperings the other day that there is going to be kind of a language program event or night coming up. So please check back to our Bellevue School District website for more information on that event. And with that, we are going to sign off for the night. Thank you all so much for being here. Please know that everyone in our office is here to support you through this process. If you have specific questions for Emily, Randy, or myself, you can contact the principal or the preschool office, and they can forward questions onto us as well to answer for you. We know this is a very big decision on where to start your child for preschool or where to continue their preschool journey. And we are just so thankful that you are considering trusting your precious children with us. We look forward to seeing many of you at our open houses. And again, feel free to pop by the preschool office at any point to say hello, to ask questions, or for help with enrollment. I hope you all have a lovely evening.
I have a very specific question if you have just a moment.
Yeah, of
Do
course.
do you know what types of professional development is offered for teachers or like support with behavioral guidance for children? Like, is there a philosophy